Okay, boys and girls, we've got the tape down for the trees. We've got our landscape lines. I'm almost ready to start with my watercolors, but before I do, I want to put a little shadow here at the base of each tree. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm just going to draw kind of a little shadow line real softly, kind of like where the snow and the tree are coming in contact with each other. So I'm just going to make that like a shadow. Do another one here. Okay. And then to remember where the tree is when we peel this tape up and we're going to be putting a shadow in, I'm just going to lightly trace the edges of the tree. I'm only going to go up to where the land is though. So this one, I'm going to go up to right there. Actually, would it cast a shadow on that snow? Yes, it would. So I'm just going to go all the way up to where the sky and the land meet. So right here. This one, same thing. And then a little thin line here. Okay. That goes right to where the land, not up into the sky. Don't trace up in the sky. Now I am ready to paint. Now I want you to put some thought into this. The land is covered with snow, so we don't really want to paint the snow. However, you could be creative with this, and you could take like a purple and put a ton of water in it to make it really pale. You could use black too and use a gray. I'm going to do purple. And just put a slight shadow along the top edge where you've got your pencil lines. You might want to put a little shadow there, okay, because the snow usually has some areas where it's a little bit lighter and a little bit darker. So I'm just following each of my pencil lines here and putting a little shadow underneath the line so it makes it look like snow. And if it's not quite dark enough, I mean, you can always add a little bit more, but if I do anything darker, I'd put it just right on the line, just a teeny bit. Okay, and when I take this off, I should be able to feel like that's still white snow, right? It's so pale. Okay, then I'm going to do some work with my sky. That's really the main part we're doing today is your sky. I want mine to be a night sky, so I'm going to put some purples and some of that. Let's put some of this. Mix them. Maybe I'll mix them on. You can mix them on your paper, and you can also start. I'm going to do this. You can start with wet paper. This will make it softer. So I'm going to wet my background here just with water, like that. Not below this line though. I'm just going to go right up to the line and stop, because that's where I want to paint. A little tip: you might want to do this first, because if this touches that water right there, whatever colors I put here are going to bleed down into that snow. So maybe don't do your shadows along this top edge until you're done and this is dried up here. Give it a little chance to dry. Okay. Now I'm making sure this is nice and wet because I want my colors to just float through there. So I've got a little layer. I don't know if you can see it. I've got kind of a layer of water just on my top part there. See it? And that's going to make this paint look really beautiful as I just dance it across here. Going to kind of put it over there. I want it to look like the sky. So the sky usually has lines that kind of are horizontal. So that's why I'm painting across like this, kind of a horizontal line. And as the sky gets closer to the top, it gets darker. So you can put your darkest colors up at the top, and then let it fade down into a really pale color. And I'm going to put some blue in this too because it's a night sky. So I don't know if I put any water in that blue. So I want it to kind of just fade out into a blue, lighter blue sky. And it could just have some blue up in here too. Now the reason I'm doing a dark color is because I want to show you this technique where you can sprinkle some salt on here. If I want my sky to look like it's snowing outside, I'm being really careful along this line because I don't want my paint to go below the line, but I also want it to go right to the line so the sky has that finished look. Okay, so what you'll do once you have that done, make sure there's a layer. You can still see a wet layer on there or this won't work. And darker colors work better, so I'm going to add a little bit more purple here because I know that the darker the color, the better my salt effect is going to be. So I'm adding a little bit of darker up here in the sky. I do still want it to fade out, so I'm going to leave that light right there. Okay. So I'm going to take my salt shaker, and I don't want too much, but I want to sprinkle just a little bit on here. And you'll see right away, you'll see that it'll start to absorb the paint. I'm going to put a little right there in that puddle. And it'll change the effect. Now mine was kind of dry right here because no salt stuck to that area, so I know I could have done better there. Okay, and then we're going to let this dry.